Gentlemen, pieces and blessings upon all my Akhis and all my sisters out there. Welcome to Split Decision. In the red corner is no other than Akhi, whatever you want to call him. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here looking like Floyd. You know, I'm picking the 49ers. I'm trying to go 49-0 on Split Decision. To my left is the one and only, the PhD degree Professor Nin. How you feeling today?
What's going on? Y'all know who it is. Punting with the PhD in pugilism. We coming at y'all here with the special Super Bowl Sunday edition of Split Decisions. And y'all see me, I don't know if you can tell how I'm rocking that we going with the Chiefs. Pat, my homeboy, I think we're gonna ride it out.
Well, you know, I'm a Giant fan. I'm be honest with you. I keep it a buck. But since, you know, we're not doing anything this year, obviously I'm going to go with the 49ers. You know, 49-0, they trying to go 50-0 tonight. Let's see, you know, I'm rooting for them. So how you think it's going to go down? You think it's going to be competitive, or you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got really two good coaches. You got Kyle Shanahan, you got Andy Reid. So you got the kind of the young guard and the new guard, both very creative on the offensive end. Supremely talented people. You might have the best player in the NFL in Patrick Mahomes, probably the fastest person in the NFL with Tyreek Hill.
It's all about
like
timing.
The two best tight ends. You got Kittles out there, so it's a lot and everything. So it's gonna be a good one. We're gonna make sure that we get in and out of this episode. We don't want to compete with the Super Bowl.
We definitely don't want to do that. But you know who is in the Super Bowl today. The Giants are clashing. That's Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, which we're going to get into that a little bit later. However, I want to get this out the way because obviously it's the hottest topic on the internet today. I mean, I was about to go to sleep last night and I saw the news and everybody was just hitting me up. And I'm like, man, what did Gervonta Tank Davis do? You know what I'm saying? Did he hurt somebody? Did he violate somebody? Then come to find out, he grabbed his baby mother out of the arena.
Yeah. And then we're going to pause that just for 1 second.
Oh, yeah, the round started. Obviously,
but we want to give a quick acknowledgement to OG Swag. And
OG Swag. All day.
He came with the definitely like the super chat.
OG
so
Swag,
love.
man.
So
he be showing love.
We had to stop the show, put it on breaks and everything before we get into some very...
Yes, sir. OG Swag gotta call in. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate all the love and support, man. OG Swag, you and Akhi all day. You have to call in, man. You gotta do me the favor and call in. So I appreciate you, OG Swag. Obviously, he from Toronto, right?
Yeah.
He from Toronto. He got that Toronto guap, man. Stop playing with him. Appreciate it, OG Swag.
East Coast.
Like I said, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, getting back to the topic, obviously, Gervonta Tank Davis, you know, the brother messed up. Obviously, he young. You know, he live and learn. Life is just a learning lesson. But at the end of the day, Gervonta Tank Davis, he should know better than that. You know, because he snatched her out of the arena. You know, obviously, she kind of went with the flow. You know, I didn't see it as of a big of a deal because a lot of people were saying he assaulted her, this and that. However, you know, it ain't like she screamed, oh, you know what I'm saying? He hurt me, this and that. She just went with the flow. So I don't know what kind of disagreement they had. The rumors were that she was with another dude. However, that is not true. That's just a bunch of gossip. What I heard, she was hanging out with Floyd Mayweather baby mother, and Gervonta has beef with them or something like that, and he saw her with her and he wasn't cool with that, so he kind of snatched her out of there. So I'm not too sure, and I could care less. I'm just worried about Gervonta because he has his career ahead of him, and he from the coincidentalist. So you know they're gonna hold that against you for the rest of your career. I mean, Floyd Mayweather used to go on interviews with ESPN promoting the Conor McGregor fight and even fights after that, and they still bring up the abuse of, you know, 10 years ago, even though it was cleared up and he was proven innocent. And at the end of the day, you know, a lot of public figures, that takes place, like whatever they do, it goes viral.
Absolutely.
So, you know, we could judge them, but obviously, you know, abuse happen in a lot of people's families, you know what I'm saying, in a lot of homes. We try to avoid that as much as possible, but at the end of the day, you know, people overjudge the athletes. And of course, Gervonta, for example, he boxes for a living. He throws hands for a living. So as soon as he go to court, if she do take him to court, he lost already. Absolutely. Just because of him being a fighter. Now, what's your take on the whole situation? I sent you the video. You wasn't even informed on what took place.
I had seen the video.
Oh, you seen the video?
I had seen the video It was one of the first things that I had woke up to, or I had kind of saw the news. So one thing I want to say is that we don't want to rush to judgment. There was there were seconds of incident that we saw. There's not a lot of context to it. With that said, beyond being still within the throes of the Me Too movement, we don't want to see anybody put their hands on women in public, particularly because those are, as an athlete, as a star athlete on the way to a superstar athlete, part of the contract that you sign is a deal with the public that you're going to be an ambassador for that sport, whatever sport that you are. So when you are out in public, what you do, those things are going to go viral quickly. So you have to understand that there's people who look up, there's young boys and girls who look up to Tank Davis. And when they see an incident like that, they might think that this is acceptable behavior, which we know that that's not true. With that said, I don't want to rush to judgment. I'm going to say it does look bad for the optics, but we're going to let him and his family handle that from this point on. I don't really like to kind of get into issues about that, but I do want to speak out against any kind of violence against women. It is unacceptable in my book, and that's the way that I choose to comport myself, and I hope my brothers and sisters choose to do the same.
Yeah, I co-sign that 100%. You know, you can't judge a book by its cover. You see Gervonta grab her and it's automatically, man, you know, he violated her, this and that. At the end of the day, what I have to say about that, obviously you have to respect the woman and, you know, carry her with respect. But at the end of the day, you never know what took place. So when Gervonta made that move, he have to be cautious of, you know, everybody has their eyes on him. He's a celebrity. That comes with the territory. Yeah. You know, there's the good and bad of fame. Yep. You know, when you do something minor that's bad, it gets blown out of proportion. And like I said, you know, if you have a disagreement with a female, regardless of how minor or major, you could always walk away. Like one thing about being grown is that you understand at the end of the day it's not worth it. So if somebody's testing you and, you know, they kind of, you know, trying to test your gangster, especially for a guy like Gervonta, who an alpha male, it's better to walk away and kill him with success. You know what I'm saying? There's 8 billion people in the world. Half of them people are females, so you're gonna find your significant other somewhere. You know what I mean? You don't gotta worry about, you know, pleasing one person or showing that person that you the man. Obviously, Gervonta, you know, he be pimping all day. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you've seen him on PBC. You know what I mean?
He gets it in.
With the incident of him not having his license while driving or something like that. Yeah. So, you know, he a player. So at the end of the day, I don't think he's swaying anything. I just think it was just a minor disagreement. But at the end of the day, it's not a good look. And like I said, since you're already a fighter on the coincidental list, they're going to hold that against you for the rest of your career. I mean, you can ask Floyd that. So that being said, I just want to give y'all the response of Gervonta Tank Davis. He cleared it up by stating, "I never once hit her. Yeah, I was aggressive and told her, come on. That's the mother of my child. I will never hurt her other than that. Happy New Year. January was trash." Now, what I say to that is, you know, he said that he was aggressive toward her, but he could have been a little bit nicer about it. You know what I'm saying? Could have easily told her, you know, I want to have a little chat with you real quick and avoid all that commotion. So that being said, what you think about his comments basically saying that, you know, he never hit her, never will, and never did?
I don't know if he exactly said it like that. I do like that he acknowledged the incident that happened out there because, I mean, part of it is there. It's not something that he can necessarily deny. I think it's a little kind of blown out of proportion. Like, this is not somebody who, I mean, there's different degrees of assault and everything, but I don't, to me, I don't think that it's going to go to that. I don't really see any charges that are going. His baby mama actually responded. She said, let's acknowledge the positive-ish, like making sure he didn't miss Giovanni's first day of private school. He hopped on the red eye, made sure he was on time for her first day, addressed her and walked her into her school and presented her as her father, and presented, himself as her father, and made sure that he paid her tuition up for the year. So mind y'all effing business is what she said.
So if she don't have no problem with it, then it ain't an assault.
I'm not sure that we should have a problem.
Yeah, an assault is a personal attack. Like, if somebody attack you, lay their hand on you. Obviously, grabbing, dragging could be that too. But at the end of the day, if she's cool with it, it sounds like she probably did something wrong. So obviously, he the alpha male. You know, at the end of the day, we don't condone it. But it ain't like he killed somebody. I mean, they made it seem like Gervonta violated her on another level. So that being said, I always heard that Gervonta is always there for his daughter. So that's the main thing in life. You know, if you're supporting them, then that's what mattered the most. Of course, you got people that's critics. I remember Mayweather back in the day, Jim Lampley and Max Kellerman used to go off on him. I mean, man, every chance they got to remind him of what he did, they took their time and enjoyed it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, Max Kellerman and Jim Lampley, ironically, did the same thing and even worse. Domestic violence is in their home. It started there, but they judging Mayweather. So it's ironic to me that you judging a person and you did the same old thing. And you even did it worse. Mayweather, from what I heard, obviously it was innocent at the end of the day after he served his time. But on the other hand, Mac Kellerman and Jim Lampley, the same people that was bashing him time and time again, they did the same thing and even worse. And what's crazy about the whole situation, when they have a guy like Conor McGregor, Kovalev, they never bring up their domestic violence. They never did so. However, when it's Mayweather, every chance they got, ESPN, every chance they got, they basically attacked him on that. Even Mike Tyson, the Iron Mike, they still test him till this day. So what I'm saying is, you got to be fair, because Conor McGregor hits a 40-year-old man and nobody talked to him about it. It never gets brought up leading up to his fight of his comeback. Also, Conor McGregor allegedly, assaulted a female.
Well, yeah, so, he had a pending sexual assault case.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, like, it happens every day. Multiple people, but it seemed like they focus on a certain group. And I would just say this, that Gervonta did make a mistake. I'm not saying
it is a mistake.
He did make a mistake, but nobody is perfect. So as long as he learned from it and realizes, what, I messed up, and he actually acknowledged it, that he was aggressive. So hopefully he correct that. But at the end of the day, like I said, it just got blown out of proportion, and I don't think it is. Should be
one thing, and I kind of wavered on saying that, is that I didn't, because I was just like saying, should you apologize publicly or something? And he doesn't owe us anything. I would like for him to acknowledge that it wasn't a mistake. That's not the way that you treat anybody that you care about. That's only if it was in public or private. That's not the way that you. To me, I think if it's not a sporting, something that you've agreed upon as a way to deal with any competition or differences that you might have, I think that's kind of like the lowest common denominator when you just put your hands on somebody. So that means that you have ran out of things to say. You can't think of anything to say. You've been out with it, or whatever it is, and you just go strictly primitive and put your hands on them.
Yeah. So like the moral of the story is, we all make mistakes. Ain't nobody's perfect. Obviously, for every little thing he do, is gonna get blown out of proportion, because he is a superstar. I'm a regular human being. Whatever I do, nobody gonna judge me for it except my own family. But whatever he do, the world gonna judge him. You know what I'm saying? So people have to be mindful of that. Like I said, it's wrong what he did. However, like I said, he should know better. And if he know better, he going to do better and behave better in public. So that being said, on to the next topic.
Round 2.
Gervonta. His next fight, just like I predicted it, Professor Nam. Remember when we was debating on if Cruz gonna fight Gervonta or Gary Russell. I told you he only gonna fight Gervonta because he is the cash cow. He bring a lot of money to the table, and as the fight is gonna be on pay-per-view, surprisingly. Now the fight
is gonna headline.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, okay. Gervonta is gonna definitely headline. Now he is a star, and when he do work out, man, multiple people be showing up. But the one thing for sure, Gervonta, when he fight Gervonta when he fight Tank. When Tank Davis fights Cruz, the one issue they're gonna have promoting the fight is the fact that, man, he's just gonna wash him. Like, I don't see how Cruz could win. Like, for a fight to be pay-per-view, the opponent has to have some type of chance. It need to be a little bit 50-50. Man, Cruz don't have no chance in the world because, man, I'm telling you, Gervonta will wash him. He will knock him out. He gonna knock him spark out because first of all, he's way faster than him. Man, he hit way harder than him. He has way better boxing IQ. He's way more gifted. I mean, you name it, Gervonta could do it better. And he don't even have the defense or the skill of Gervonta. So what is he going to do besides get punched in the face and block with his face and get knocked out?
Well, I mean, he has some... I won't totally disagree with everything that you say, but this is a split decision. So I will offer a counterpoint. I will say that he's a long fighter. He's taller than him, has a longer reach or bigger reach, however you want to classify that. And to me, I think if you put him up there, he has the better resume at this point. I would, if you think so, I think if you compare the world champions that each of them has fought previously, I'm pretty sure that Leo Santa Cruz would come out on top. So those are some intangibles that will play to Leo Santa Cruz's benefit.
Experience?
So I don't see experience, better competition. He's longer, has a longer reach in the.
I think the better resume part is a little tricky because I think Pedraza is better named than all the opponents he fought that Cruz fought probably. Pedraza possibly a better opponent than all of his opponents that Cruz fought. But one thing for sure, Gervonta has way more experience than people think because Gervonta sparred a lot of people from Gamba.
Sparring, man.
Man, sparring is fighting at the end of the day. Man, doghouse rules.
Sparring is not.
So doghouse rules
man.
is not fighting.
I don't. I'm not going to speak on that because I have my issues about those things that happen in there. Sparring is not fighting. If you ask anybody who spars Floyd Mayweather doesn't spar like he fight.
Exactly, that's true.
So that's.
But iron sharpen iron, and Gervonta been in better sparrings than a damn Cruz. Man, he gonna fight Cruz like he's sparring and knock him out. You know how he be playing around and sparring, just like showing his skill, and then be like, pop, and knock you out. That's what he gonna do to Cruz. I'm trying to tell y'all, he gonna violate him. Now, some people in the chat saying, "Nah, you crazy."
For one thing,
he will violate Cruz.
He better
man.
come in shape. So we
he
know
could,
that
he better stay away from Broner.
He better stay away from Broner.
He could hang out with Broner. He could get to 200 pounds and he will sleep Cruz.
Oh, that's disrespectful.
Man, I'm just saying, like, you know better than I do that this ain't a split decision. This is a knockout when it comes to Cruz versus Tank Davis. That's why I'm having a little issue with it being on pay-per-view because they're gonna have a little problem selling it to the public. Like, people don't really
a headline. I just don't know if it's built.
It's gonna be a headline, but I'm just saying.
I know it is. I think they're gonna have. I don't know. I would have liked to see Cruz against Tank Davis on a co-main event for Canelo fight or something else, for the public, because that way you're gonna have more eyes on them at that time, and I don't necessarily think that it's captured the public's attention to that point where you're gonna put a whole show behind Leo Santa Cruz and Gervonta Davis. If it was on Showtime, I would say that's a good fight. That's a really good fight. As a headline for pay-per-view, I think they're gonna struggle with that.
Well, I'll say this. First of all, for the people in the chat, call in. I just dropped the number. For y'all Cruz fans that saying, oh, he ain't Gamboa, this and that, call in. Please tell me how y'all think he's going to win the fight because I just don't see it. That being said,
I just gave you some pointers.
I mean, yeah, but that point is he gonna do it.
We want to see y'all. We want to see your argument out there. And we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna wait before we actually. You kind of gave away your pick.
There is no pick.
You're not even giving Cruz any kind of.
He the biggest underdog in history. I say that. Listen, I'm trying to tell you this. You know, like people say with the Gamboa fight that Gervonta couldn't stop a guy with 1 foot. You know, he had an injury, this and that. But man, he dropped him in the second round and caused that injury to take place. He hit him so hard, he hit him in the foot.
He ruptured his Achilles.
Like, you gotta have some power to hit somebody in the face and hurt him in the foot. Obviously, he could have possibly tripped or whatever the case might be. But all I'm saying is, man, we all know better than I do Gervonta power is real. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Against Gamboa, he came a little out of shape, this and that. But Gamboa is a veteran. Gamboa sleeps Cruz.
Man, listen, you can't say he came in a little bit out of shape and then Gamboa is a veteran.
I'm saying Gamboa sleeps Cruz.
Gamboa sleeps Cruz. I don't know about that. That version that I saw Gamboa, I don't see that. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, hold on. I gotta connect it first. Yeah. But you know,
we got our first call. Look, I hope it's T-Tone, because where he at? T-Tone Toledo. You said you was gonna call this week.
T-Tone, hold on. Whatever. I gotta connect my headphones first and connect to the studio. You could mention some of the comments till I get it together.
Well, it's nothing too much. Mr. K says, don't talk crazy about AB. He's still nice. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. Yeah. Maybe at 140, at 147, he might barely crack the top 10.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A62, what's up, fam? How you doing? Where you calling from?
Hey,
and who this is?
Assalamu alaikum. God bless you guys.
Walaikum assalam.
Peace.
My name is Valentine, man, from the East Coast, Brick City, Jersey. You know, I just want to say, man, I support you guys. You guys, you know, your panel is very different from most. And I appreciate the boxing talk, the intelligence, of course, from the doctors.
Appreciate the love.
Appreciate it.
It seems like Akhi's working on his thesis. That's what you said.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Try.
But you guys do a fair and amazing job, man. You know, I'm really grateful for the boxing talk. At first, I was a little hard on you guys. You guys see me in the comments sometimes, but like, you know, of course, I'm a man down, bomb squad, and tank fan as well.
It's all good. It's all good. You know, we take the good with the bad.
Bomb squad. I already know. and that's what makes the panel good, man. You know, I mean, you guys catch me off guard sometimes with your analytics, because I'm thinking it's going one way, but you know, Akhi, I think you're learning something from the doctor, or it's working one way. You guys figure that out. I don't know. But
Yes, sir.
you guys working good together, man. It's fair. It's fair game, man.
Appreciate it.
You know, it always hurts, man, to hear things like this. I mean, this new social media era, man, it shows a lot. It's vastly different from when I was coming up, man. I'm a couple of years older than you guys, but nevertheless, man. So we're privy to a lot of things that has been happening, for a lot of different people over the years, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
But, so you know, our young boxers, black or white, it doesn't matter, man. Our young people in the spotlight, period. They have to be mindful, and hopefully he works on some of the things that cause whatever social issues that, you know, a lot of us deal with psychologically and otherwise in our personal lives. So hopefully that'll be worked up. But I mean, I do say that, you know, and I'm gonna say it plain, man, that every time a brother gets in a jam or something happens with a brother, man, it goes viral. I mean, they did not splash this information that happened with some of the other dudes like Kovalev and some of the other people who had some issues with women and otherwise.
Yeah, they ignored it.
They did not, you know, handle it. So I like, you know, guys like Akhi, you guys are very responsible with it, and I respect that, you know. But I hate the fact that we always got to come to the defense. And for the people in the chat, it's not like you know, Akhi and the doctor supporting anything negative. We don't support abuse, but you have to be mindful of the fact that, you know, like brothers never get support. You know,
exactly.
The bad light is always shed upon us. So, you know, we have to be fair about how we create these narratives, you know,
and
period.
And that's a great point. The problem is there's already going to be a narrative created that's out there by the media folks. So part of our job is to kind of get out in front of the media and then kind of state first there's the facts that are unquestionable that are out there, and then we also have to be mindful, right? So it's a small segment that we didn't see. There's not context to it. And then there's other things. So first of all, we have to not rush to judgment, not crucify or do that, and then it kind of state like, so this is what happened, and then acknowledge what didn't happen, right? As far as we didn't see it. So we state the facts, and we're doing that. And our job, particularly at Split Decision, we're definitely not in the business of persecuting our young brothers and sisters.
Yeah, we just here
appreciate that, man.
We rather focus on the positive news than the negative ones. But at the end of the day, you know, if the negative news is out there, we might well talk about it before some people just, you know, overbash somebody for a mistake they made. You know, we don't condone it. At the end of the day, everybody has a brother, everybody have a sister, everybody has a mother, everybody has a father. So we, you know what I'm saying, we just want to lay out the good message and, you know, just give a little advice in there too.
Thank you for that. Now, look, I had one question because I came in a little late. Did Tank respond to all the drama? Did he respond at all yet?
Yeah. He said, like I said earlier, he said that he hold on, let me quote him exactly.
Okay.
Let me quote him exactly. He said, "I never once hit her. Yeah, I was aggressive, and I told her, come on, that's the mother of my child. I would never hurt her. Other than that, Happy New Year. January was trash." So that's all we heard from him at the moment, yeah.
Okay. All right, respect. So I won't hold the lines up, but I definitely support you guys and Split Decision on what you guys do. I appreciate it. Keep grinding. Look, of course, Bomb Squad, okay? Man down, okay?
And we're going to have our predictions coming soon. We're going to have our predictions coming.
I agree with you. I think Tank's going to watch this kid, man. But, hey, whatever it takes, you know, I'm going to support it. I don't necessarily like it on pay-per-view, but I'll support Tank because I hope he wins, man. I hope he wins, not this boxing thing. I hope he wins in life. So that's my thing.
Yeah, and one thing for sure, you know, Cruz been avoiding Rigondeaux for years, so it's good to see him step up for the first time against a brother, you know what I mean? So I would like
about time, right?
About time, you know what I'm saying? So he going to get paid, but he going to get every penny worth of him getting paid because, man, Gervonta gonna sleep him. I'm telling y'all.
And not to jump off topic, I had a question for you because I know you had shot a video about this. I'm not sure if you guys discussed it on Split, but I'm a hardcore Earl Spence fan, no matter what. You know, I'm believing 100%. You know, I believe, you know, God, the Creator. I know all the divine things that God can do for us. Let me ask you real quick. Now, that video of Spence the other day. As much as I love Spence, honestly, and I understand Spence didn't even put that video out. It wasn't him that put it out, posted it. But, man, that looked like an old clipping.
Yeah, I came to realize.
I thought about that too.
So, yeah, that's what I thought, the same thing. But
I mean, I understood what was being stated, but see how I took the video from the beginning, it's like, that's Spence. That's the one that's coming back. You know, in that type of mode, I didn't take it as him, that being him right now. And this is what I didn't take it as that, but a lot of people ran with that. But I was just so surprised how so many people, especially people who have channels who are doing well, so to speak, put it out.
A lot of people did run out on that.
Yeah, I see. Hold on, yeah. So let me clear it up.
It was very clear that. I mean. Dude had a regular number 2 haircut.
That was the suit. That was the picture of the suit.
He dropped a lot of weight from that last interview. Good night.
2 weeks ago. I mean, that's how he's coming. That's how Spence is going to come. He's going to smash the rest of the 147-pound division. But I was just like, man, people are thirsty for some headlines and stuff. I was just like, come on, y'all wildin', man.
Yeah, well, me personally, when I saw the video, I'm on Snapchat, so I seen a video of him. So it says 7, hours ago and shit like that. So, you know how you have, if you post an old story, like from a year old, it will say 1 year ago. But when it says 7 hours ago, I'm like, hold on. And then I check out like some of the reports. So I check out some of the reports and everybody like, man, Errol Spence back in fighting shape, this and that. So I'm like, man. So I hopped on it right away without even like thinking maybe that's not him right now. But ain't no telling. I don't think, like you said, it's kind of weird if he's in shape that quick. Obviously, he a workaholic.
I mean, we hope he comes back to that form. Well, I definitely am a believer. Trust me. I don't care what people say. Everybody wants to be a medical doctor. Everybody wants to be a psychologist. Everybody, is a psychic and all this stuff about what's going to happen to him. God does everything for everybody according to their own portion of faith. And so it's going to be the way it's going to be.
All right,
I love
appreciate
you guys,
it,
man.
Akhi.
I'm supporting and keep grinding, man. I'll hit you guys again in the future. All right?
Appreciate the love, bro.
All right.
All right.
So the arrow spins, like I said, I'm gonna clear it up real quick. Like I said, when you post a snap, like me personally, if I post a snap a year old, it will say 1 year ago.
Yeah.
But if you post it and it says 7 hours ago, I assume this at the moment. And he never showed his hair anyways. Like we know when he said he had a low cut, that's in the picture when he was wearing the suit. But in the video with the abs, he never showed his hair. He had a little mustache, but he even had a little mustache on his last picture too.
Yeah.
But getting back what we were talking
real quick,
about.
before we do that, because this has been, I think since we did our first show on Split Decision, Sean Johnson's been riding with us. We want to send out our thoughts and prayer to Sean. He's in a hospital right now. Not sure what ailment that you're dealing with, brother, but just know that.
Man, Sean, man, I hope you recover. Inshallah, you will feel better and get well. When you do get well, call in, and if you could call in today, please give us the pleasure to. Let me connect this call real quick. Man, that's sad. That's sad news. Let me see if we connected yet. Hold on.
Yeah, it sounds like they're on there.
Let's see. I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. You got to do the Bluetooth.
Yeah, hold on. I got to plug it in. Yeah, you can read some of the comments till I do that. I got it. How you doing, Akhi? Stay where you calling from and who this is.
Hey, what's up, Akhi? Hey,
Tom.
T-Tone Salido.
T-Tone Salido. What's up, man?
What's good with you?
You recovered from last time? Because last time, man, I heard, you went to the hospital.
No, man, come on, Akhi,
you okay,
man.
fam? I ain't mean to do you like that, my man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to hurt you like that. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we trying to do light sparring. But go ahead, fam.
Y'all got jokes.
Hey, man, I like your guys' show. I like a lot of the talk, but a lot of the talk I don't like, So, hey, just like in the boxing matches, there's two sides and there's two sides in talk too,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you calling me out in the comment section. What's up, fam? How you feeling?
Hey, cool, man. Finally getting a little sunshine in the day and, feeling good, taking every day. Hey, man, we're out here for a little bit.
Absolutely, man.
So what do you want to talk about? Well, yeah, what do you want to talk about?
Hey, I come to talk about Canelo, man. You
called in a little early. We gonna
a little bit early.
Because we're gonna hit the Canelo topic a little later. So I'll make sure I give you a call back. You gonna be tuning in?
Yeah, hey man. Yeah, hey, I'll be here.
Okay. I'm gonna call you back when we touch the Canelo subject because I want to stay. 419. So I got it.
Hey, yeah, we got you.
Yeah, Tito, I'm gonna call you right back.
All right, man. All right. Later.
Peace. So we have a super chat.
We want to give a shout out to Matthew Valentine. Just call in. So keep grinding, keep bringing the smoke. We want all the smoke, and I'm gonna give him a hashtag Bomb Squad.
Man, that was the weakest bomb squad I ever heard.
I didn't want to bust the mics. I didn't want to bust the
Let's not do that.
Expensive mics. I had to restrain myself a little bit. Now I appreciate it without, saying what I need to.
Yes, sir. So let's get back to the topics real quick. Appreciate it, Matthew. Appreciate it, Swag. You know what I'm saying? We trying to be swagged up like
OG
you. You know
swag,
that.
OG.
So where we at?
Yeah.
So what we were talking about, the tank. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic.
I think, we kind of wrapped that up. So we're gonna move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Right now we
so the zone.
Yeah.
They had obviously they interviewed Andrade after the fight. I don't know. I'm not sure who the commentator is, but when he interviewed Andrade, the interviewer he mentioned Charlo, and I'm like, you know what? That's been the elephant in the room in the media for a minute. So as you should, but. How you gonna ignore the fighters on your own network, the Canelos of the world? Canelo looking for an opponent as we speak. Gennady Golovkin doesn't have an opponent as we speak. He might fight his opponent that's 25-1 underdog, but this guy, the interviewer, he's gonna talk to Andrade, and not ask him about Canelo or Gennady Golovkin. But he gonna mention Charlo. Now picture this. Let's say Errol Spence is getting interviewed on PBC. And they interview Errol Spence and be like, you know what? And they never ask him about Manny Pacquiao, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, and he haven't fought none of those guys yet. But they ask him about Terrence Crawford. People are gonna look at them sideways like, what? What about the people on your own network? So his own network is shitting on him.
Really?
If you look at it that way, because I remember when Gennady Golovkin, when he had his last fight, and Andrade hopped in the ring, and this interviewer ignored Andrade while he was in the arena and never asked Gennady Golovkin about Andrade. And they waited till they finished the interviews, and then Andrade went to Gennady Golovkin and took a selfie with him and all that. And that's when Gennady Golovkin told him, "I'm gonna fight you if if I don't fight Deveryachenko next." Now he ain't fighting Deveryachenko nor Andrade. Canelo ain't fighting Andrade nor Charlo. But what I'm saying is, how you explain and justify the zone not mentioning Canelo or Gennady Golovkin, but they want to mention a fighter from a different network, Charlo. So they want the fighters on the coincidental list to fight each other, aka the murderous row, and the fighters on the hope list to fight each other, aka Gennady Golovkin and Canelo. Is that the plan?
Maybe, but I thought the zone might have been looking out for him because
looking out for who?
Looking out for Andrade.
How they looking out for Andrade when they didn't even mention Gennady Golovkin or Canelo?
Because he fought some dude named Keeler, and they was like, "There's no way that this fight is gonna prepare you to fight because Triple G or Canelo."
Because unlike Canelo though and Gennady Golovkin, you got to keep in mind, Andrade can't get anybody in the ring with him. Gennady Golovkin is avoiding the best competition to cherry pick. Andrade is not doing that. He fighting Keeler.
It might be some cherry.
He fighting Keeler because he don't have nobody else to fight. So name me a fighter that he could fight other than Keeler. Like, just please name me a top name that said yes to fight him. So what I'm saying is he had to fight Keeler to stay busy in case Canelo or Gennady Golovkin grow some cojones to fight him. So what I'm saying is this. How you justify that? Like, how you even justify his own network basically throwing him under the bus?
Maybe, but he kind of helped though because they asked him who they wanted to fight and he said Billy Joe Saunders
because he tired of calling out Canelo. He told him grow some cojones and nothing happened.
Well, I mean, I think part of it comes up to him. So to me, he mentioned Billy Joe Saunders and then the other guy brought up Charlo in a sense. But if you get this stage, you get opportunity. Even though they were fighting on a Thursday night, it was kind of weird. But he said
because of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it was because of the Super Bowl. But he was like, I want to fight Billy Joe Saunders
because that's possibly the only option that's available. He tired of calling out Gennady Golovkin and Canelo. But what I'm saying, the interviewer ignored them guys. Forget Andrade. Andrade did what he was supposed to do because people like you said, who did he fight Canelo, right? Well, he calling out Saunders and Charlo and all these guys to hope that these guys will grow the cojones to fight him. All I'm saying is,
hope it'll build his profile though.
I have the issue with the zone, like that's their own fighter, and they rather not mention Canelo and Gennady Golovkin and less possible opponents on their own network, but they want to talk about Charlo. Why y'all worried about Charlo when y'all don't own Charlo? Worry about making fights on your own network. It's like PBC letting Errol Spence call out Terrence Crawford, and they rather make that fight than Sean Porter and Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao. It doesn't make sense and it doesn't make dollars. But because Andrade is a threat to these fighters on the hope list, they don't. I'm assuming the zone don't want Andrade to mess up the bag because they paid Canelo too much.
I think he's a threat to anybody because nobody's called him out. Jacobs, I don't think, has called him out. Charlo doesn't call him out. Triple G doesn't call him out.
I think Charlo will be the first one to step up.
You think so?
I think Charlo, because I heard he might fight Banks or Andrade. I think 2020 he fights Andrade. That's what I'm thinking. He has to because
I can see that.
There's no other.
Part of it is that they've kind of run out of options. So
yeah, and Charlo did not run out of options because he got Banks, he got Benavidez, he got Deveryachenko. He is not running out of options. On the other hand, is Andrade. He has all the options in front of him. But the zone, just like HBO back in the day, the way they were hiding Gennady Golovkin, the way they were basically praising these fighters on the Gotti list, aka the Hope list, That's what DAZN is doing. Because why are they doing Andrade greasy like that? When that's their own fighter fighting on their own network, ignoring the elephant in the room, that's Canelo and Gennady Golovkin. So like I said, it's just mind-boggling to me because, if it makes sense, it makes dollars. And that fight makes sense and dollars. And
which fight?
Andrade versus Canelo.
Canelo?
So
you think that's the biggest fight we can make at middleweight?
One of the biggest. I mean, I'd rather see that than a Gennady Golovkin versus Andrade, can you hit the bell? Because we about to hop into the next topic real quick, which all relates. Canelo, according to Dan Rafael, Canelo versus Murat is possibly off because Murat, they have a problem fighting Murat because he's not even a B-side. They saying he's a Z-side. Like, he's not even a B-side. Like, he's not bringing nothing to the table. Even in Japan, nobody know him like that.
If
no disrespect
I was an executive at DAZN and they brought that fight to me, I would say, like, no.
But DAZN is the ones that actually want that fight for Canelo. So, to make him happy, and in return, they want him to fight Gennady Golovkin in September. So they think that Gennady Golovkin trilogy match is such a huge fight, which it's gonna be a flop. I promise you that, because it's long overdue. Gennady Golovkin lost his fight against Deryachenko. Even Canelo said that. So the fight is a flop. I don't know why DAZN gonna waste $66 million to pay Canelo for 2 fights that's gonna flop, just to please Canelo for the first fight, to cherry pick and go to the next fight with Gennady Golovkin in September. And what is that going to do?
DAZN
it's
should
not
going
to get you no rates.
Middleweight tournament. They are
exactly.
Diaz and I don't know what.
So how you explain that? I'm saying Canelo, you Canelo biggest supporter.
Who,
so
me?
I'm saying he making you look bad. He making
not making me look bad. He don't. Hey, I don't.
Oh, you
I
don't
get
represent
paid.
Canelo.
No, I don't get paid. He's not the person that I have at the top of the pound for pound, whatnot. But I like to be objective in my assessment of some of the fighters, and I'll give him. I remember when he was just a young teenager making his way up, and at this point, I still
he a grown
think
man.
that
He said he was born ready.
I still think that he is the person that it is can be argued as the face of boxing.
Well, he said he was born ready. I don't think he's born ready because he's a full-grown man and still don't have the cojones to fight Andrade. So when is he gonna stop avoiding Andrade? Is the $1 million question, Professor.
It's a lot of. I mean, we're gonna get to it.
No, answer the question.
But there's a lot of people that's been avoiding Andrade.
I'm talking about Canelo. Let's stick to the subject. We're gonna get to every single fighter, but I'm talking about Canelo in particular. We already know Gennady Golovkin said absolutely not. I would not fight you. He turned down the fight.
Somebody just got an offer for like
but
1, 2, 3, 4, 7 mil.
Stop maneuvering around the question. We're gonna get to him. I'm talking about Canelo. The $1 million question. Forget fighting. When is he even gonna negotiate with Andrade?
Okay.
I'm talking about.
You tell me Andrade's last 5 opponents, and then I'll tell you Canelo's last 5 opponents, and then we'll be like, why are these two guys fighting each other? We're probably going to say that.
My question is this. He was 1 belt removed from being undisputed at 160. According to Canelo himself, he said that's his long-living dream, that he want to become a reality, is to be undisputed at 160 and be the first Mexican fighter that ever did so. So my question to you is, Canelo was 1 belt removed from doing so by fighting Andrade, and he said absolutely not. So you could talk about who's Andrade's last 5 opponents. Who is Murat? If we're gonna mention that. So I'm saying, when is he gonna fight Andrade? And you haven't answered the question.
I'm not sure at this point. So once Andrade fights a top 5. I'll give him top 5. You fight a top 5 guy, and then I think that there can be a push for you to, because Andrade is one thing. He's starting to get this boogeyman persona that's being out there. The guy that people are avoiding. Jacobs doesn't call out his names. Charlo doesn't call him out. Triple G stays away from him.
Charlo did call him out.
I don't.
Well, we're gonna get to that, but first of all, I must clear up. You said that Canelo is, he gonna fight him after he gets a big win. That's cool to say, but based on what track record you going by? Because Canelo never fights fighters coming off their biggest win. He fights fighters coming off their worst performances. And we see that with him negotiating with Saunders. He negotiated, after he looked horrible against Deryachenko? in a close fight.
He looked
I mean, look, Jacob, my man, that was a tough fight.
It was a tough fight.
It was a 1 round separating them.
Devin Chico's, as we've seen, he's one of the best fighters. He is a very good fighter.
And Canelo gave up the strap to Derevyanchenko. But all I'm saying is, why you saying he gonna fight, Andrade if he get a big win? But based on what track record? Because as we see, he negotiating with Smith and Saunders, fighters coming off their worstest performances. So I think you mean if Andrade have a horrible performance. Not good performance, because last time Canelo got asked about Andrade, he said he boring. But last time I checked, when he fought Killer, he looked like he was the killer in the ring, and he went in there on some Mike Tyson-ish and knocked him out. So that wasn't boring to me. So I'm saying the boring excuses out of the window.
There was some more excitement to his.
I'm just saying the excuse of him being boring is out of the window, and he's negotiating with Saunders, who move way more than Andrade. So I know that's basically a cop out and an excuse for him not to fight Andrade. The oldest excuse in the book that's so old that I gotta wipe it off before I talk about it.
To me, it's probably less risk. I think he's probably determined.
So he's cherry picking. Is that what you said?
No, you just do that.
Give me the year. I know you're digging your own grave trying to defend him and stuff, and the guard is going down, but give me a year.
A year?
When are he going to fight him?
I say that because I don't think it's going to happen this year, but I could see them undisputed 2021. It happens in springtime. Canelo, Andrade, because at that point, I think Andrade fights, probably beats a Charlo, gets other things, and then he's kind of knocked out some of the competition. It looks like Canelo, which I'm not interested in at all, but it looks like he is maybe positioning himself for the Triple G trilogy. And then I could see that at the top of the year. But I think Andrade needs to do some things to raise his profile. He fought on a Thursday night. It was because of the Super Bowl, I understand. But he fought on a Thursday night.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it, though. I just want to mention this. I think the fight going to take place 2025. He going to negotiate 2024. I think when they invent cars that could fly, Canelo going to want to buy one of them. I mean, he going to possibly fight Andrade, even if. I mean, man, if he fight him in 2025, I'll be happy. Because like I said, if Canelo keep claiming he pound for pound #1, then he should fight him now. Can you hit the bell real quick? Now, I just want to mention this real quick. Hopkins, he came out and says, it's time for Canelo to make some legacy fights. He basically saying, man, Canelo, what has you been doing lately? You ain't been doing a damn thing. Obviously, Hopkins, he part of Golden Boy. He speaks for Golden Boy, so he can't speak too much and criticize Canelo too much. He says, in my era, though, we fought each other. I fought everybody, this and that. So he basically talked about Canelo. He said, it's now time to make these legacy fights. And I think they're trying to pressure him in a nice way. Because Oscar came out saying...
Pressure him to fight who?
Andrade. Because Hopkins said this fight will happen 2020. Only according to Hopkins. Nah, Oscar said that, he said around the same lines, fights that defines Canelo legacy are Charlo and Andrade. But when they speak about Andrade, they be like, they kind of dance around the question. But Hopkins, Radio Raheem to this day is still applying pressure, and he told Hopkins, man, listen, is he gonna fight Andrade? Because you keep saying he gonna fight him 2020, but people say otherwise. Canelo speaks otherwise. So what I'm saying is, what you think about the Hopkins comment of that fight taking place 2020 when DAZN clearly have other plans? When DAZN didn't even acknowledge Andrade as we talked about earlier.
Well, obviously Canelo is his own boss, and I don't see anything that Golden Boy could do to pressure him to do any fight that.
Man, if they put a strap on his head, he want to fight Andrade. Is that what you're saying?
Well, listen, Hopkins is talking about a legacy fight, and I remember when Kovalev was letting some legacy out on him, and this is the same guy that Canelo stopped. The
only difference was the role reverse. Hopkins was 50 years old, literally. I'm not joking. He was literally 50 years old. He fought a prime Hopkins that was avoided by, what's that, my man named the southpaw?
You mean prime Kovalev?
Prime Kovalev. What's the southpaw?
Adonis Stevenson.
Adonis Stevenson, Superman. He didn't want no parts of Kovalev. Kovalev was the most feared. He fought him then. It shows you what kind of man. A 50-year-old Hopkins got more heart than Canelo now. So what I'm saying is Canelo, he peeped that Kovalev looked horrible against what's that? Yard and a guy with 12 amateur fights and 18 pro fights and never stepped up. He saw him almost knocking out Kovalev. The only reason he got stopped by Kovalev is that he gassed out because of all the muscle he was carrying or whatever. But my point is, Kovalev by that time already got knocked out by Alvarez, and I'm not talking about Canelo Alvarez. So he got dropped like 3 times in that fight too, and got stopped. He came back and won that fight in a skillful fashion. However, it took a lot out of him. And then against Yard, he looked horrible. And of course, that fight with Canelo looked so bad that they talking about he took a dive. Even Kovalev said out of his own mouth he disrespected Professor Nim. He said that anybody that picked me to win don't know ish about boxing. And you picked Kovalev to win. I don't know what you were thinking.
I know.
So he disrespected you. So it's just pointing out.
And you picked Ruiz to beat Anthony Joshua. So
Ruiz didn't even train. If he would have if he started eating them burgers and got a good chef, he would have possibly beat AJ. AJ wanted to walk out of the ring. Like he was walking into the arena. Like this is the arena, right? He wanted to walk away. And that you let that guy beat you, Ruiz? But we ain't even gonna get to that. But like I said, hold on. Let me make sure. I think before you hit the bell, we have to call my man back. You know what I'm saying?
We do have to call him back.
We have to call him back.
Much respect. T-Tone, we calling you right now.
But like I said, before I call him back, Hopkins, at the end of the day, man, he's reaching with this. Like I said, Hopkins and Canelo aren't cut from the same cloth. Even Oscar, excuse me.
Wow.
Even Oscar, because Oscar fought a lot of people in their prime. Hopkins did the same. Man, Canelo, he's embarrassing the Mexican, legacy of his country. You have Mexico behind you. You're trying to defend Canelo, man. He making you dig in your own grave.
I don't have to. His record defends himself. I don't have to defend him
record
at all.
Against who? 3 fighters that's in their prime for the past 15 years. Him in pro is embarrassing. His record is embarrassing to be the face of Mexican fighting. I mean, Benavidez should get that claim because, like I said, Canelo is not doing it any justice. So let's call my man, T-Tone. I want to see what he got to do because obviously I knocked out Professor Nim. He had nothing to say, so I'm on to the next opponent.
I ain't got touched. I'm looking like I'm looking like Ali after listing. I'm looking good.
Hold on. Let me connect my man real quick. I appreciate
Sean Johnson going in. What is you talking?
All right, Sean Johnson, you better call in. We gonna have Sean Johnson call in. My man, hold on.
Go ahead and sell this for us right now, man. What's going on?
What's going on, fam? Talk to me.
Hey, heck yeah, what's up, man?
Yeah, what's up? So, talk to me. What you think about everything that just took place in split decision? I mean, Professor Nim, he laid out, knocked out, spark out. You want to be next?
I'm over here looking pretty.
Hey, don't hang up on me when I'm done now.
Go ahead. Ain't nobody hanging up on you.
The Mexican fans, man, they're proud as heck of Canelo, man.
They what?
Who else is proud?
He said they proud.
Man,
who else is fighting 5 champs in a row? Give me a name.
5 champs?
Yeah.
He said Canelo fought 5 champs in a row.
Is Rocky Fielding a champion?
I think
he was a WBA champion. That was in a real belt.
He got
knocked out. He got knocked out in the first round.
That's on that wall.
He got knocked out in the first round.
How that's not real? That's a real belt.
That's a WBO, by the way. That you pointing at.
I'm just saying.
That's the WBO.
The World Boxing Association.
Listen, my man. So let me break it to you, because let's get serious for a minute.
I mean, Tito.
Canelo. Let me respond to him real quick. Go ahead. So Canelo, like you said, he fought champions, whatever. But at the end of the day, is calculated risk. He fight Kovalev when Kovalev is 1 foot out the door. Word to my man, Professor Nim. He said that out of his own mouth. Can I respond? Can I respond? Can I respond? So Kovalev, like I said, 1 foot out the door. Rocky Fielding got knocked out in the first round. You know what I'm saying? So he fought him, cherry-picked him. Obviously, Jacob was a good name. But Jacob had a tough fight with Derevyachenko, but I give him all the credit for, Jacob. Then who else did he fight? Because you said the last 5 opponents.
Triple G.
Triple G. And, remember, in the rematch, in the first time, in the rematch, he got tested positive for albuterol. And we can't dismiss that either. So he needed certain supplements to fight Gennady Golovkin, a guy that, basically his career is overhyped according to his biggest supporters, Max Kellerman and Jim Lampley. So I could keep going on and on and on, but his resume is made up because it's very calculated when he fights his opponents. He fight Kovalev on the way out, like I pointed out earlier. And I could go on. You could name me his great opponents. Can you please name them?
He fought Austin when he was undefeated.
Let Torino.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hey, my turn, Akhi.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Break it down.
Hey, look it. Now getting to Kovalev. Man, one of the greatest light heavyweight champions, right?
Yeah, now it matters when you fight your opponent.
Hey, look it. Now let me get going here now.
Yeah, go ahead.
You get it right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Kovalev knocked out Andrade, the young stud. And before that, Jacobs, man. Andre, Charlo, they said, no, man, I don't want to fight you, Jacob.
That's not true.
Canelo said, let's go.
Nah, don't bring up false information, but keep going.
And then getting to Triple G. Man, going against, at that time, remember Triple G, they were saying he's the best. And that first fight, okay, nobody took nothing from nobody. But the second fight, man, Canelo said, no, man, it's me, man.
So how you feel about this, him taking albuterol in the rematch?
Yeah, all right, let me break that down to you.
Yeah, please do.
If you ate that meat in Mexico, you had that shit.
I want some of that meat too. Now, I get you. That's the oldest excuse in the book. That's what he's supposed to say. Let me respond. First of all,
I'll let you go.
What do you want to say? It was the Mexican meat? That's all you have to say. Like, ain't nothing to it.
Now look at, come on, like I let you go. I'm just breaking you down, right? Now look, did he flunk the test for Jacobs? Did he float the test for
You digging your own grave, fam. Because the WBO increased the albuterol limit. The WBC increased the albuterol limit so Canelo could pass the test. But let me respond to you. Now, first of all, you said about Kovalev. It matters when you're fighting your opponent. When Terence Crawford beat Gamboa, that's not the same Gamboa as Gervonta Tank Davis beat. So it matters when you beat your opponent. That's when you're going to get your credit. The same guy, like Roy Jones, for example, he got knocked out how many times toward the end of his career? I can't even recall.
6,
I can't even recall the guys that beat him. But let's say somebody knocked out Roy Jones in his prime. Then he will get all the credit in the world. You're not going to give the same credit to the guy that knocked him out in his prime and the guy that knocked him out when he was getting knocked out almost every day. No disrespect to Roy Jones because he's one of the greatest, but that's my point. It matters when you fight your opponent. Canelo is always calculated and fight his opponents coming off their worstest performances. And
well, I don't know if that's true.
Knocking out Yarde is the worst performance to you?
Who?
Kovalev knocking out Yarde is a bad performance to you?
Yarde had 12 fights as an amateur and 18 fights as a pro. Can you name me a guy that Yarde beat other than, just name me a guy that Yarde beat?
Hey, look it.
No. Answer the question. Answer the question. If you can answer the question, you won. If you answer, no, hold on. Don't hit the bell. Don't save him by the bell. If you can answer the question, if you can answer this question, you won this debate. Name me a fighter that Yard beat.
Oh, no. The debate ain't about who Yard
Hold on.
beat.
See, you said Yard is a great fighter. See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you kind of switched the.
He said Yard is a great fighter, but name me a fighter that Yard beat.
No, he did not say. He said beating him was a good performance.
How is it a good performance when Yard?
He said
hold on. Are you aware? Hold on.
Change the subject.
Yeah, hold on. I'm not changing the subject, but let me respond to you. Listen. Let me respond to you saying this. All right, I'm gonna have to let you go if you're not gonna let me speak.
You're gonna hang up on me.
No, I'm not gonna hang on you, but I want to respond to you. So listen, hold on. Don't even save him by the bell.
We going over.
Listen,
okay, go ahead.
You're a false prophet if you the truth. Let me tell you this. Are you aware that Kovalev trainer was telling Kovalev in the 8th round, if you get hit like that again, I will stop the fight. And that's So you telling me that's not a bad performance? The trainer is telling him you one punch removed
That
from a
shows some
stoppage.
heart and grit.
Man, Yard got tired, man. Yard got tired and he couldn't even get up from a jab. Let's stop playing. But anyways, I appreciate Torrento. You 0-2 on split decision. Your record is horrible, man. Appreciate it, Akhi, all day. But so like I said, at the end of the day, my man, he got knocked out today yet again. But I gotta say to this because he didn't let me finish.
I'm gonna let y'all be the judge.
So like I said, Yard at the end of the day, you know, he couldn't name me a guy he beat, but he talking about he a great, great fighter. But at the end of the day, listen. Yard is this. Listen, Yard was one punch removed from stopping Kovalev if he took his time. He punched himself out. Yard's own trainer told him, punch yourself out in the 8th round, which was a horrible mistake. And then Kovalev's trainer was telling him, man, listen, if you have another round like that, I'm stopping the fight. And you telling me that was a great performance? It just lets you know they tried it so hard. Like Akon said, man, I tried so hard to, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you got to try harder and fight these fighters on the coincidentalist instead of giving up your straps.
T-Tone, we appreciate the love.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
We just got to take in other calls. We definitely not hanging up on the truth. We appreciate your insight and everything.
Yeah, like I said, like I told him, name me one fighter Yard beat. I don't care if he even was a good fighter or not. Just name me a fighter, man. He couldn't even name me a fighter. You can't even name me a fighter. Can you name me a fighter?
Give me a second to think about it.
He was saved by the bell.
Let's go to the next one.
Let's move on to the next subject. Eddie showed proof of the offer he sent to Charlo.
Ooh.
However, while he was showing the proof on Radio Raheem, who applying pressure to this day on these fighters like Canelo, et cetera, now Eddie Hearn covered up the money. Now, obviously, Radio Raheem could confirm the money and stuff like that. But what I want to say is, you already put it out on public that you sent them $7 million. Why are you covering up the amount now? You know what I mean? Yeah. So obviously he was responding to Tim Smith, who claimed that nobody sent him an offer. Tim Smith was not capping or lying because at the end of the day, Eddie Hearn sent it to Charlo Lines Promotion only because he hit him up on Instagram and asked him for his email. Now, what I find interesting about this whole situation, if you following me,
I'm with you.
Eddie Hearn hit him up on IG. Told him I got a big offer for you. Charlo responded by saying, okay, send it to me. He said, what's your email? And he gave him the email. Then Eddie Hearn later on mentioned that, listen, I sent him another offer a year ago or something like that. And he said, which they never responded to. Now, if you already had his email, why are you hitting him up again? But at the end of the day, if you just worked with Al Haymon through Ruiz, and Charlo is, obviously he's a Al Haymon fighter. Why are you hitting up Charlo instead of Al? That's the manager. That's the guy that has the power. That's the guy that has the plan. It don't make sense to me. It's mind-boggling. So first of all, what's your take on that? Like, why he hitting up Charlo? Obviously, he's going straight to the horse, but why is he not hitting up Al Haymon instead?
I think part of it is that anytime that you are setting up a match or doing a deal and you have a fighter and then it's somebody else's fighter who's with another promotion, is you try to put yourself in a position to get some leverage. And then so I don't think that it's right. I do think that they want the fight between Andrade and Charlo, but particularly is that maybe he wanted him to kind of accept this offer before going to Al Haymon, and then so there wouldn't be this back and forth negotiations. So I don't necessarily like it. I think that with the boxers, they can sometimes be in a vulnerable position because they have to take care of their training and all these other things.
Yeah, so why are you hitting up the fighter?
It is. So I don't
like
think
you're supposed to be hitting up the manager.
It's a good tactic, but I also don't think that it negates the fact that they want to set up a fight with him, and it sounds like a good money offer. Take the fight.
No, I agree with you on that. They sound like they want the fight. Andrade wants to fight. Charlo called out Andrade too. He said he's willing to go to the zone. And Andrade said the same thing. He said he's willing to go to Showtime if they offer me the same amount of money we offered them. So if that's the case, make it happen. But one thing for sure, like I said, there's a lot of fishy things going on, and how sneaky Eddie Hearn be, I can't trust him, because I like Eddie Hearn work ethic and what he does for the sport. You know, he try, but he got to try a little harder, because one thing for sure, sometimes he let things slide, like Dana White, you know, B sample. 3 months later, it comes out and they've been talking about it's clear. Like, really? It took y'all 3 months to clear it up?
He just moved a venue because of Chavez Jr. and everything.
Again, and then again, he didn't send a contract. That's one thing for sure. He did not send Charlo a contract. He's just sending him money and telling him, are you interested? So that's part of negotiations, but he haven't sent him a contract. But ironically, Eddie Hearn was the same guy who told Deontay Wilder that, oh, this guy from Alabama, like, how you sending me $50 million and telling me if I say yes, you're going to send me a contract? You know, he tried to play Deontay Wilder when Deontay Wilder is backed by Al Heyman. Al Heyman is a billionaire. Al Heyman is the mastermind of them all. Al Heyman made the biggest fight in boxing. The top 3, the top 4, the top 5 maybe. Of course, the top 1 with Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao. Of course, Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. So that type of money, if we talking money, Al Heyman, you know, his middle name should be Money Like Floyd. So you're going to really talk about Al Heyman and Wilder and question them. But you doing the same thing to Charlo, sending him emails without sending him a contract yet. You sending him, you know, basically an email and hitting him up on Instagram. The same thing Deontay Wilder did, but you had a problem with Deontay Wilder doing it. But now you basically are, you know, we being sincere and we want to make the Charlo fight. Which one is it? Sound like another contradiction. Well, how come Eddie Hearn? That's why.
How come Charlo not
you
sending
lose that trust? You lose that trust
an offer?
Because it's weird, but unlike. Unlike Andrade, I'm talking about this situation is weird because unlike Andrade, who fights for the zone that have the most talent, Charlo only has Derevyanchenko, Banks, and Benavidez, and it seemed like he has better options. Even though Andrade has more options, but Charlo has better options because those fights are makeable. Those fighters will fight him. Banks is calling out Charlo. Derevyanchenko will fight Charlo. Benavidez agreed and accepted a Charlo fight. So did Charlo. So what I'm saying is he in a better position than Andrade, even though he's not with the zone, because none of these fighters on the hope list on the zone want to fight Andrade. On the other hand, Charlo got options. He could fight Banks for $5 million. He could fight Derevyanchenko right after that. And he really beat Gennady Golovkin, so that's a great fight. Nobody could complain about it. And then he could fight Benavidez. So if the business, you know, is in the way, is the obstacle in the way for Andrade and Charlo to take place at the moment, Charlo has better options. Meanwhile, Andrade has to fight these unknown fighters. Huh?
The business doesn't have to be in the way. Like why don't we just make it?
I mean,
there's some very smart people that are behind that.
Now I want to see the fight. The fight should be next because obviously the zone have a lot of money. They offer Mikey Garcia $7 million. Who's not a champion, coming off a loss to fight Jesse Vargas, who's not a champion either. Yeah. So that being said, on the other hand, we got Charlo, who's a champion, Andrade, who's a champion, the best in their division that Canelo, Gennady Golovkin are avoiding, the most feared. So, you know, they should be offering Charlo, in my opinion, more than $7 million, according to their own offer to Mikey Garcia. But nevertheless, $7 million is still a good offer. It's still the most money that Charlo made. However, if Charlo, because like when I say the business, Heyman looking in, he probably saying, man, we could probably make more money. We could probably get more money out of them if we get Charlo to fight Banks, which I heard that fight is made. And if Charlo knocks out Banks, nobody was able to do, and then fight Benavidez, he put himself in a better position to negotiate. What? But what I'm saying is, I want Banks the Andrade fight next.
Okay.
But all I'm saying when I say the business, when I'm trying to explain the business, because you asked me a question. So I'm saying like that's how the business, probably they're looking at it as their side of things. But all I'm saying is Charlo, when he fights on PBC, he gets one of the highest views every time he fights. Obviously, when he fought on Showtime, he didn't perform his best his last fight, but that's because he was competing with Anthony Joshua versus Ruiz that came on that same day, and there was another card on the Zone that came on that same night, and ESPN even had a card. So like I said, he was competing with a whole lot. So that being said, what's your whole take on, the whole commotion,
that saga that's going on
the
in
proof,
there.
and
So
Eddie Hearn and all that.
I don't like the tactic, but I think it was a way that Eddie Hearn could basically use social media as a way to let them know that we do want to fight, but also to gain a little bit of leverage and to kind of, which is something that he doesn't want to do, which is use the media as a way to negotiate or use that as a vehicle for negotiating.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily like it, but I just want people to really do a kind of reductive thing and just have two fighters say, hey, we want to fight. We want to fight each other. Let's make this fight happen. And then also get this kind of unofficial stated agreement that say that, guess what? We're the two most avoided fighters in here. We're the two black fighters that are long rangey athletic that nobody wants to fight. We're going to fight to determine which one is the top out of the coincidental list. And then after that, there is no way that you guys can keep on avoiding us, whether it's Canelo, whether it's Jacobs, whether it's Triple G. And then just go ahead and just kind of clear out some of the mess that's part of the middleweight division. This is a pretty, I ain't gonna say it's the most talented time that we've seen, but it's one of the more talented periods for middleweight division. So let's go ahead and make a superstar out of one of these fighters.
That's the only way they're going to have to go about it. I mean, Canelo ain't going to fight him. Gennady Golovkin ain't going to fight him. So they're going to have to fight each other. That's why it's called the Murderer's Row, and Dante brought it to my attention. Back in the day, the Murderer's Row had to fight each other when these fighters was avoiding them. And it seemed like, history always repeat itself. So, I agree with you on that. So, speaking of, my man,
we get
Tank. Not Tank.
No, we get the
Tevin Farmer versus Jojo Diaz. Now, as you've seen, I was watching the fight with you. Jojo Diaz suffered a cut. Yeah, and we've seen usually when a cut like that takes place, the fighter panics. AKA J-Rock, my man.
Yeah.
And who else? Tyson Fury also panicked. Man, he had Wildin looking like Mike Tyson in there and shit.
Yeah.
So, like I said, Jojo, he kept his composure. That's why I don't like when people was like, man, Tevin Farmer broke his hand. Listen, you could say he couldn't use his jab, man. Freaking Jojo Diaz couldn't see out of one eye. Yeah. It was dripping so bad. And when I say dripping, I'm not talking about he was dripped up like we were and like we are, but I'm talking about it was dripping blood. So he was like, that's why I know Jojo Diaz has a heart of a champion. And I gotta give my hat. I gotta take off my hat to Jojo Diaz and give him a lot of props for fighting Tevin Farmer and fighting Gary Russell, because he don't get the props he deserves. Because y'all have to keep in mind, Cruz, Frampton, Quigg, all these fighters avoided Gary Russell just like they avoided Rigondeaux. Meanwhile, the only fighter that stepped up is Jojo Diaz. It ain't Canelo that's doing Mexico City justice. It's Jojo Diaz. He putting up that flag way high and waving it because he have the cojones of a real Mexican stepping in the ring with any fighter. He fought Gary Russell and now fought Tevin Farmer and made his dream come true. He stated he worked 2 years for this. He trained 2 years and he made it come true. That's why, he had that tunnel vision. Even after he suffered a cut, he still saw through to his goal, and he beat Tevin Farmer in a great classic fight. Tevin Farmer, credit to him as well. He fought in the pocket, the wrong game plan, of course. Yeah. But at the end of the day, he gave it his all, and he left it all out in the ring. This fight reminded me, don't quote me on this. Don't come at me talking about why you're comparing the two, but it reminded me of Duran versus Leonard. I just think it was just the wrong game plan. Leonard let Duran get to him, and he went in there thinking he haggling-ish, and he ended up losing that night. He made an M, but it didn't turn to a W, and that's exactly what Tevin did. He was not able to turn that M to a W. He made an M, but he did not turn it to a W. fighting, the wrong game plan. So what do you see, like how you see the rematch playing out? Or is it gonna be the same old story? Is JoJo just has his number? Why did Tevin didn't stay in the pocket? I mean, why didn't Tevin box instead of fighting in the pocket?
Yeah, so one thing I do want to say that I want to give JoJo credit. I want to give his corner credit, his cut men. They really kept the fighter focused. They kept him just tunnel vision and thinking about accomplishing this goal, and something that he worked really all of his life for, or at least most of his life. And you got to realize, Jojo Diaz was this person who there was a lot of promotion, and they were trying to make him one of the next stars, the next Mexican American stars, and he fell a little bit short. Had the loss to Gary Russell Jr., who was a supremely talented boxer. But for him to take this opportunity and to grab it by the balls or by the cojones, I really want to give him credit.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that, to me, I still sense that Tevin Farmer was just a little bit off. He not only fought the wrong fight, but just to me, it just seemed that he fell into JoJo's game plan. He really didn't even take advantage of JoJo and his the injury that he was dealing with to his eye. I would have been kind of peppering it. He I ain't gonna say he claimed it, but he did say he was dealing with an injury at that time, and it was very humble in accepting the defeat. But I don't know. I think I would still give Tevin Farmer the slight edge.
In the rematch? So you think it was
I can't see him standing in the pocket the whole time like he did this fight.
So you think, was it, okay, like I'm not trying to make excuses, but was it the injury that he couldn't use his jab and had a fight in the pocket? Or is it what Jojo Diaz did to make him fight in the inside?
I think it's part of it. So I think it was Tevin Farmer not making any adjustments, not saying that this is not working, these there, and then him and his corner should have been working to make those adjustments. When they kind of step back and look at the fight, also with the injury, sometimes you got to just bite down. We've seen Floyd, we've seen even Manny Pacquiao, we've seen other fighters deal with injuries and still find a way to pull it out during that fight. I think with some more time, well, for one thing, is I think that they will make sure that he does not stand in the pocket, because really he's taking away one of his best advantages, which is his slickness, and he gives away his slightly better boxing ability if he just stands there and kind of trades with him.
Yeah, and then just to follow up, I agree with you on that. And he must fight his fight to have a chance against Jojo Diaz, because Jojo Diaz was battering him with the left hands, great combinations, great punches. And one thing that impressed me with Jojo Diaz in that fight is how calm he was and how he was selecting his punches. I mean, what's my man name? Tevin Farmer's defense didn't look that good. On Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, when you stand in front of the person and kind of trade, and then when you're not using your, some of it is because
he didn't fight his fight, so he couldn't use the angles that he wanted to.
Exactly.
But again, that's another point that I brought to on my post-fight videos, that is because he's a southpaw. So that being said, I remember Jojo Diaz when he fought Gary Russell. I felt like he started late. There was a lot of hype behind him, so I was very interested to see him fight Gary, because Gary was like the boogeyman at 126, and it's like, man, to see Jojo step up like out of nowhere, it shocked me. So I'm like, let me see what Jojo has. So when Jojo fought him, he was like a little bit gun shy in the first 6 rounds. It took him too long to open up. But as soon as he opened up and went to the body, man, he had Gary Russell like, man, hold on, this dude could punch. And like, he's very accurate, and he's better than I expected. And Gary Russell dogged it out. But by the end of the 12th round, man, he changed the landscape of the fight. So you wonder, like, man, if you would have started early, you possibly could have pulled off the win. But that's experience, and that's also credit to Gary Russell, because early on his hand speed is just on point.
It is.
That, you really can't see a lot of them punches.
It's flashy.
And you don't want to get caught with a punch that you don't see coming, because the punch that you don't see coming is the one that put your spark out. So you have in the rematch Tevin Farmer.
Right now, going into it, I would I think that Tevin is going to not get on his bicycle, but use his angles a little bit better. I think he's athletically just a bit better than JoJo, and I think he'll make the adjustments over a camp. Make those adjustments which he was not able to make during the fight, and hopefully he won't have to deal with any hand injuries.
No, I agree with you on that. I mean, I would say this. I feel like JoJo has the edge because
you
got to keep.
He has his number
Because the cut, he suffered a cut. For him to perform and be calm in that fashion, I mean, I feel like if Tevin don't come on his Sugar Ray Leonard in a rematch with Duran, then man, it's gonna be tough. And I know that's what you're referring to.
Similar,
yeah, I know that's what you're referring to. But I feel like Tevin already got out of the hospital saying the injury is cleared. It's gonna heal, and he won the rematch right away. So credit to Tevin Farmer for not folding under pressure. And it happens in boxing, so I could see that. I don't know who to pick right now, to be honest with you. I still have to see, what takes place. Because I didn't like what I saw with Tevin Farmer. He just went straight to the pocket. Like, man, what is you doing? That's not your fight. You don't have the power. You don't have the power to fight in the pocket. It reminded me of what Gary Russell said. Tevin is a good fighter, but he don't have that FU on his punches like Tank Davis does. So when he fights in the pocket, unlike Tank Davis, he could crack you with one shot and get you out of there. But Tevin Farmer, he could stay in the pocket, hit you with all type of shots, no disrespect, but you ain't going to feel him because it's like pillow punches. So he has respectful power when he catch you coming in, but you cannot be in the inside fighting like Mike. You could show different dimensions of your style, and that's what he pretty much did against JoJo, but he stayed in the pocket too long.
Yeah,
it was looking good early on, but then they're like, man, you staying in the pocket too long.
It is. So we want to, and I just want to put this out there because I'm not, and I think you reported on it, but apparently Farmer did not break his hand. He was cleared, so there was no actual breaks. Well, this is from Matthew Valentine. We haven't verified it, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. We can.
What he stated?
He's saying that he was clear that he didn't actually have any fractures.
Okay, so he probably just twisted it. It's a small
minor
injury.
But there's also
a minor injury,
there's ligament damage, there's tendons and other things that are in there. But we will, as we get more information about that, once we can get something verifiable, we'll make sure that we will keep you informed.
So speaking of, Super Bowl is today. We're not going to keep y'all for too long, but guess who's at the Super Bowl?
I got the Chiefs, though. I want to say that.
49ers, but Deontay Wilder, of course, is going to have an interview tonight with the Super Bowl, during the Super Bowl, while the Super Bowl is on. They're going to interview Deontay Wilder, and that's great promotion because you got 90 million people tuning in.
Yeah.
We 2 people out of 90 people. Tyson Fury is doing the same, so the Giants are clashing, and they having an interview on the Super Bowl, which is smart thinking by Heyman. So that being said, Deontay Wilder had something to say in the face-to-face where he stated, and I quote, he said, "We both have different mindsets, and it's going to make this an amazing fight. We have different techniques. We have different tactics, I should say."
Yeah.
Coming into the rematch from what we previously saw in the first fight, what does each fighter have to change? And more so, what does Tyson Fury need to do? Because, of course, I know Deontay Wilder, he has to vary his offense more. He cannot be looking for that right hand all night. He has to feint, you know what I'm saying? Give him a little feint, let him bite on the feint because he's steady moving his head. When your head is in motion, as soon as you see somebody moving, you just move. And you're going to make somebody miss. So you feint him to see where they're going, and then you try to catch him. That's what Wilder needs to do. Feinting is a big part of his game. Throwing that left hook is a throwaway punch. Throwing the jab and follow up to the body. I know it's risky to go to a body on a heavyweight, especially these 6'9", 6'7", heavyweights, super heavyweights. But Wilder, with his power, if he goes to the body and lands at the end of his punch, he could possibly put his lights out. And if you want him to stop moving, then you go to the body. And then when you corner him, just like Wilder, when he landed that punch in the 7th round, he controlled Tyson Fury, and he figured out where his head is moving to because he had his hand right there and caught him. So that's what Wilder needs to do more of instead of just winging at air all night. So Wilder, I see what Wilder has to do. However, Tyson Fury, on the other hand, man, he done hired another trainer, claiming he the best trainer in the game. He, of course, got an American trainer to get an American-style boxer, because, of course, in the UK, they're more stand-up. So he wants to get that American style that has upper body movement and teach him a thing or two. So what does Tyson Fury need to do from your perspective to change the outcome of the fight? Because I know, just like you know, that it's not going forward and knocking out Wilder in 2 rounds, like he claimed. What? I feel like that's capping. Of course, that's what Tyson Fury said. And you said the definition of capping is you pulling up Tyson Fury saying that and you be like, you know what, that's capping.
Exactly. If I wanted to show somebody what capping is.
If they didn't know what the term stood for. So what I'm saying to you, what's the real game plan that Tyson Fury does not want to reveal to the public?
So I think he needs to take a little bit of what he did in the first fight, which I thought he was very successful, but also mix in, and this is not something that's going to be aesthetically pleasing, but also mix in a little bit what he did against Vladimir Klitschko. And in that fight, he kind of made it ugly. He grappled a lot. He kind of tied up Vladimir. He made it awkward, right? So that way Vladimir wasn't able to time him. And then so for him to be successful against Wilder is a long-range puncher, even though he can shorten up his punches. But what you need to do is just get him off beat a little bit. Then tie him up. Grab him, hit him on the hips, hit him on the waist, do some other things, hold him a little bit, lay on him. I'm guessing Tyson Fury is going to be, about 270 pounds for this fight, 260, 270 pounds. Make Wilder carry that weight. Wilder has very thin legs, so it's like over the course of a fight, when you're holding up somebody who is close to 300 pounds, that's going to take a little bit out of your legs. So what you want to be able to do is make sure that he doesn't carry that power into the late rounds. Because Tyson has shown an ability, at least early on, to be able to kind of smother the work, but with him, it only takes a fraction of a second. So you find ways to sap up some of that energy out of Wilder, and then you have to stay just sharply and keenly focused for 36 minutes.
Yeah, now the bad sign for Tyson Fury is the fact that all it takes is one. And, you have to be perfect for 12 rounds. And if you actually going to get hit, just like if you swim, you're going to get wet. And you don't really need to get wet all the way with Deontay Wilder. All you have to do is get splashed a little bit, and that's all she wrote. Now, Wilder stated that leading up to the first fight, he broke his hand. So he really didn't throw it in camp a lot. He said, if I'm going to break my hand or hurt his hand, I'm sorry. Okay. But he basically said, if I'm going to break it, I'm going to break it in the fight, knocking his ass out of the ring, which is a smart planning. So that being said, if that's the case, he still was able to land it. Then in the rematch, man, if he has better accuracy, however, with the accuracy, he need to be more patient and, more importantly, like I said, vary his offense. Like I said, he has the hand speed. Yeah. I feel like he possibly even the faster of the two. Hand speed wise, I don't think Tyson Fury has the quicker upper body. Tyson Fury is also
just
fast.
More educated.
Yeah, Tyson Fury is just more elusive. He have that.
Well, his combinations are more fluid and faster.
Yeah,
but just
Wilder's not a combination puncher.
Yeah,
Wilder's
just
a single
from
puncher.
from getting one punch from here to there, Wilder is a faster person.
And that's what I say about Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather. I used to tell people Mayweather is faster than Manny Pacquiao from getting the punch from point A to point B. Yeah. Manny Pacquiao is faster throwing combinations. Like Mayweather, it was never his thing to throw combinations, really. So that being said, we got a caller. Let me pick up real quick, connected to the studio. Hello, how you doing, Akhi? Stay who this is and where you calling from.
Yo, what's good? It's Real Rap calling from Louisiana. What's good with it?
Real Rap, how you feeling? Who you got for the Super Bowl today?
Got the Chiefs, man. You bugging.
You know, I gotta go with an underdog.
I got the Chiefs, man. I mean, I grew up a 49ers fan. You know, I used to love Jerry back in the day, but I gotta go. I gotta go with the young bull, Mahomes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he would be.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, my team didn't even make it, so I ain't even tripping. You know, my team, you know, it's Giants, but we ain't even doing too good. You know, I don't.
Not even close. Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm saying? We got a lot to work on for the moment, but it is what it is. So I ain't tripping.
Oh man.
So how are we feeling?
Hey, bro, you from New York, man, but your team playing Jersey.
Man. Man, yo, I gotta eat my crows. It's all right. We gonna get it someday. I don't know when. Someday, whenever Canelo fights Andrade, I feel like Giants gonna win the Super Bowl.
That might not happen.
Oh, God, man. Hey, Professor, what up, dog?
What's going on, Real Rap?
Chilling, man. Look, I'm gonna touch on that last topic, man.
Yeah, let's get into it.
That cut is gonna be everything, man. That cut is gonna.
I even forgot about that. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yep. That cut is gonna play. It's gonna play an X factor. I mean, it's all kind of dirty tactics. I'm sure Wilder can use, but we don't even want it like that. We want it straight up, man. We're gonna jab the fuck out that cut. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Till that bitch bust open, is gonna part like the Red Sea, man. You know what I'm saying?
A pretty win or an ugly win, it don't matter. As long as Wilder gets the win, it don't matter if you know how he gets it. A pretty win or ugly win. And how Tyson Fury panicked the last time, man. If he get that cut to reopen, man, Deontay Wilder about to put his spark out for real and send him back to the WWE for real. You know, because he panics when he fought Wallen.
I agree, and like they did his cut man did decent, like up until maybe like the 11th round, keeping that shit together.
Oh, man, he did a great job. Like, and he fired him though, right?
He was underrated.
Didn't he fire him? He got a new cut man.
Yeah, I think he did. Oh man, I got J-Rock on my mind. I know J-Rock had got a new cut man, or was thinking about getting a new cut man. I don't know if Fury did, but it's like the thing with Fury, man, is it's not even so much him. You know, I want to shut the fans up, man. His fans are very obnoxious. You know what I'm saying? And I can't wait for that judgment day right hand. You know what I'm saying? to wreak havoc on old boy, man. Because of course I want the W, you know, any way I could get it, but I would love to get the W. You know what I'm saying? Knocking Fury the fuck up. Like, I would love to see that, man.
To be honest with you,
it's clear.
To be honest with you, man, I don't know where the Tyson Fury fans at, man. I mean, we haven't even had one call into the show. I mean, in the comments, they haven't been around like that. I'm pretty sure if Tyson Fury wins, they're gonna come out. But I'm just saying, they kind of pretty much quiet. You know, they're a little worried. Deontay Wilder got him shook, man. That power is worldwide. He punched Tyson Fury, they're gonna feel it. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Hey, did y'all catch that like that drop last night on PBC? PBC at drop behind the scenes.
Oh,
I was go ahead, Fred.
Yeah, no, you finish up. Yeah, I'm not informed. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead and finish up.
Yeah, like basically, like they did the same thing. Like they're doing the same thing for Wilder and Fury that they did with Harrison and Charlo. Like they're going like behind the scenes. Like the first part of it was like Deontay going to Rome, and it was showing bits and pieces of Fury on the first one. Last night was kind of more focused on Fury. It was getting into like his family background. It was showing you know, how he changed his eating regimen and stuff like that. And it kind of touched on Deontay Wilder a little bit. So the first segment was more catered toward Wilder. The second was more catered toward Fury. But yeah, it's like both are on YouTube. You can
Yeah, they both
part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, they both have great stories. Deontay Wilder more so has the better story because of his daughter.
Oh, of course.
You know, but one thing for sure, Deontay Wilder need to come a little bit heavier than he did in the first fight. I mean, 209 for his height, he should be coming at least to
220.
220. You know, instead of 209.
Cool.
Huh?
Like, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I feel like Wilder's best weight is how he looked against Ortiz in the rematch, like 2020, 2025. But 209 is kind of light for Wilder. You know what I'm saying? That's Muhammad Ali weight. I remember Muhammad Ali when he fought in his prime, early days. He was 209. Yeah, he was 209, but.
He was 6'2".
But he was 6'3". Ali was 6'3", 6'4", and Wilder's 6'7". You know what I'm saying? So. I feel like it might be beneficial to come a little heavier. So you know that should be the plan for him.
Professor made the point earlier, man. Like it doesn't matter what he does, he's gonna have a small base regardless. You know what I'm saying? Like his thing is more conditioning, and you know he's got that country strength, right? You know he's got that wiry, country strength. But
he gets a lot of leverage on his punches too. He's similar to like Tommy Hearns. Yeah.
Like his upper body, if you look at his upper body, he's well defined in the upper body. He's just got a skinny base, but you know, I mean, it doesn't affect his power. I mean,
nope.
Like I used to feel like that too. As far as Wilder, I used to want to see Wilder get into the 220s, but if it doesn't affect his power being 209, 210, you know, so be it. If he can move a little faster, you know what I'm saying, be like a little bit more you know, quicker on the footwork side of it at 209, then, you know, worst case, you know what I'm saying, kind of meet in the middle. You know, if that 209, that's 215.
So strength-wise is definitely beneficial, but yeah, I agree with you. But I have another caller on the line, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick it up. Rap Critic, appreciate you for calling in as always.
Man, thanks for chiming in, Real Rap.
That's a bit. Real Rap, Akhi. Well, it's all good. I catch.
All right.
Yes,
peace,
sir.
Fam. Oh man! As soon as I picked up the call, my man gave up.
They just called it.
I'm gonna call him right back.
We call him right back.
You can read some of the comments.
So Samuel the Miss says, "Who's a bigger ducker, AJ, Canelo, Lomachenko, or Crawford?" Wow, I haven't.
I don't know. The Crawford one kind of tough. Crawford one of the most feared, but I would say, I say who Canelo or what? Oh, AJ. I say Canelo or AJ between them two. Because AJ, I feel like AJ probably got that hands down. Because at least Canelo fought Lara at one point. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
AJ haven't fought nobody. We wanted him to fight yet. Ortiz, my man, Ortiz, even Wilder, Fury. But I have my man on the phone. How you doing, Akhi? Where you calling from and who this is?
Yeah, man. My name is Jed. I'm calling from Ohio, but I live in Orlando, Florida. I'm just here for work.
Oh, you
ran across? Yeah, I ran across y'all's show. I seen y'all was talking positive or whatever, so I just felt like I'll call in.
I appreciate it, Akhi. First time tuning, huh?
What's his name again?
Majid, M-A.
Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah, Majid, I got you on there. Yeah. I seen you in the comments.
yeah. So you know, I just wanted to call in and support Bomb Squad for this fight coming up. Awesome. I'm a big Tyson Fury fan too, but since they fight, you got to pick a side, you know. So I'm gonna go with Wilder on this. I feel like he'll capitalize on the rematch if he just shorten his punches and relax, you know. And
so
I'm not sure.
Prediction wise, what round?
Yeah, give us a
do the Muhammad
prediction.
Ali on us. Give us the Ali, the round.
All right, I'm going with round 6, man.
Okay.
Round six.
Round 6.
Yeah, by round 6, Tyson. I don't think he's gonna get up from them shits again, man.
Now, if he get cracked again, man, it's all she wrote because he got caught in the 12th round. And I don't know how Wilder carried that power in the 12th round because he seemed out of it too. Like he was a little gassed out.
Yeah. And
he still, man, like he hit him. He put him in a coma, but it was just a short coma for 4 seconds. You know, while Fury hit his head so hard, he woke up from that coma. So that being said, he might not wake up from it next time. I know, God forbid anything bad happen, you know, at the end of the day. But I don't see Fury getting up if he does get cracked.
I still haven't made my prediction yet. I'm still taking in the info, bro. So like as we get about a week out from the fight, we'll get our predictions on there.
Yeah, we definitely dropping the prediction. Yeah,
all right. You got. I mean, this is a little bit of a segue. You got anybody? You watching the Super Bowl? You a football fan, or you definitely?
I'm just pure boxing, man.
Okay, yeah, no doubt.
We can relate on that.
Hey, but man, thanks for tuning in.
Appreciate you for calling in, fam.
We here live every Sunday, man. I appreciate your comments and everything. Appreciate the knowledge that you're sharing on the board, and we hope to hear back from you.
Yes, sir. And everybody, make sure y'all like the video and spread the word.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
the love.
Subscribe, comment, like, share, and more importantly, click on the notification bell to get notified every time we post or go live on Split Decision. I'm calling my man back. He called too. Let me get this call out the way before we hop into the last topic of the day. Appreciate every single one of my Akhis. How you doing, fam? 804. Stay who this is and where you calling from.
Hey, man, my name's Justin. I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
ATL, what's
Justin.
good?
What's up, Justin? How you doing, Akhi?
All right, what's going on? First thing first, I want to say big fan of your work. You and Dante, y'all do an amazing job covering boxing.
Appreciate it. Dante, that's the go of his field for sure.
Yes, sir. And one thing I wanted to talk about is, do y'all think, or is it just me, do y'all think the PBC honors the WBO belt? Because as I've been paying attention for years over boxing, I have not seen that one PBC fighter hold a WBO belt.
Man, that's a great point.
Really?
And that's why Charlo versus Andrade kind of a little bit questionable because so is Errol Spence and Crawford. And the reason why that's actually a great point you pointed out, because I remember Al Heyman wanting to cancel out the WBO from what I heard because Bob Arum have so much control over it. He feel like it's corrupt because Bob Arum is basically paying them whatever money they want, and they make his fighters the mandatory. For example, when Lomachenko fought Salido, it was for the WBO strap, and Lomachenko haven't proved a thing. He was fighting at featherweight, and his accomplishments were really a feather at the time because it was his second, pro bout. And he fought Salido, lost that fight, and the WBO have a rule of you cannot fight for that title coming off a loss, as I told y'all time and time again. And then obviously Lomachenko fought him coming off a loss. He fought Gary Russell. So you can see the connections that Bob Arum has with the WBO, and that's why a guy like Al Heyman and PBC don't want to mess with them, because they see that, like, man, they like Bob Arum, he has them in his pocket. He does. So that's it. That is a great point. I didn't even realize that.
Well, yeah. So they put it out there. It says the PBC no longer recognize the WBO as a major sanctioning body.
That's an actual article?
Yeah, it's an article. Yeah.
Yeah, I read that as well. Also, what made me question, is the Jeff Horn and Pacquiao fight, where that was Pacquiao's last fight against Jeff Horn, but last fight against Bob with Top Rank. And I don't know if people wanted that belt to come over to their circle. So
but
many people say Jeff Horn, Manny Pacquiao was robbed of that fight.
Yeah. And people heard that Pacquiao was planning on leaving Bob Arum, and that's why Bob Arum did that move, because he couldn't get Pacquiao to fight Crawford. However, one thing for sure, if that's the case, man, that's an obstacle in the way, because how are they going to make the Crawford fight with Errol Spence? How are they going to make the Charlo fight with Andrade? Because Andrade is the WBO champion. Crawford is the WBO champion. Yeah. Are they not going to recognize the title and just pay for the name Crawford and Andrade? They're not going to acknowledge the WBO title? Like, how?
Yeah. Even when they put up graphics on Fox and Showtime, they never recognized WBO champions in any weight class. Even when Andy Ruiz won it, they recognized him as a WBA IBF champion, not WBA IBF WBO champion.
Yeah, and of course
that also could be the hold up for the Wilder Joshua fight.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say that's the holdup because they didn't care about that because Anthony Joshua has two other straps. So they wanted that fight to begin with. But PBC are looking to make their own belt. But I have another caller on the phone, fam. So I'm going to have to let you go. But I appreciate you for calling in, Akhi, okay?
Appreciate the love, bro.
No problem.
All right. Thank you. Now, that was definitely a great topic that he brought up. Oh, man. I didn't let my man go and my man hang up. But like I said, he brought up a great and excellent point. That's why the PBC are looking to establish their own belt to kind of have the leverage the UFC has. Remember, the UFC is basically an organization that in control of the belt and the fighters. So it makes fights easier to make. 504 on the phone. How you doing, Akhi? Where you calling from and who this is?
Whoa. This is Bruce. I'm calling from Washington, from New Orleans, though.
What's good with you? You said this is Bruce?
Yeah.
Appreciate the love, bro.
Appreciate it. Can you turn down the mic, the volume for the computer? Cause
Oh, all right, my bad. I still have my computer on in the background.
Yeah, you're right. How you doing, fam? How we feeling today?
Oh, I'm chilling, baby. I'm like you. I don't really do the football thing, you know. I'm into the boxing,
Right.
you know. But you know, I just want to call and give y'all boys y'all little props, you know what I'm saying. And I want to chime in a little bit on the Gervonta Davis thing, you know.
I'll
Yes,
speak
sir.
on
Yes,
it.
sir. Go ahead.
Speak on
You
it.
know, I think it's kind of being blown out of proportion a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I know we're not supposed to put our hands on women, and I don't promote that no way. But you know what I'm saying? You can't have your cake and eat it too out here. You know what I'm saying? You can't have, you know, be pushing some policies and with some certain things, and then in certain situations you want to show out and show your ass. You can't always do that, bro.
Yes, sir. Now, the one thing for sure, you know, it ain't the first, it ain't the last. Like I said, you know, domestic violence happen every day, and I don't think it was domestic violence. I just think they had an issue between them two. Gervonta got tight because he saw her with some girl that he don't want her to hang out with. I mean, like I said, that's his personal business. If she had a problem with it, she would have basically made it known. She put out that Gervonta is a great father. Gervonta always there for his daughter. Gervonta, regardless of what he does, he's there for his daughter in school, this and that. So it's just her bringing that out to the public instead of her bashing him. It kind of let us know that, okay, it was between them two. However, it got caught on camera and it got blown out of proportion. You know what I mean? So like I said, you know, I'm not touching on the topic to bash Gervonta. I'm just kind of like, man, y'all needed to chillax a little bit because, you know, Gervonta, he didn't commit a crime. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all acting like he got a felony in his, you know.
Right. And, you know, but this due to a lot of the social things that are going around, you know, that are the social pressures that are being pushed on to these certain situations where you don't even see it. Like you was talking about, like if you was in the NFL, oh man, it'll be going crazy now.
Hell yeah. And that's the problem of social media nowadays. I mean, everything gets blown out of proportion. And like, you don't know who these people speaking. Everybody want to bring their 2 cents to the table. And it's just that as the 2 cents because it don't bring dollars to the table. It's just, you know, it don't matter. Like I said, at the end of the day, people judge you behind the keyboard. You have a lot of keyboard warriors at the end of the day, and they say all type of things. So you can't really take too much into it. It's just social media nowadays. And Gervonta is going to have to take the good with the bad and adjust to the time. Obviously nowadays, like I said, it's social media time, so he's gonna have to move way clever than he is. You know what I'm saying? You have a little issue with your baby mother, you could just, you know, tell her, hey, let me talk to you real quick. You know, just, you know, like I said, when you're on the eye of the public, you gotta behave the right way because everything you do, no matter how small or big, it will be judged.
Right. But you know, you also got to understand there's a lot of undermining going on too, especially as a, you know, I don't like to bring race into it, but I'm a black man, so I'm going to just say it how it is. If you're a black man, you deal with a lot of undermining. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times it be in petty situations too. You be like, come on, but you'll get undermined and it stagnates and it even makes you even want to walk away and go, you know, in a whole completely new direction. And I think that's more of what it, you know, I'm not saying that's what it was, but it might have had something to do with that. Because, you know, I be with my girl or something, you be wanting her to, Be like, look, come on, babe. You know, you trying to undermine me. I already told you don't be with that chick. That chick, you know, dropping salt.
Bro,
you know
exactly.
what I'm saying? Hater,
And
don't do that. So, you know, right.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that's part of being an alpha man, alpha male. You know, men. A lot of men are alpha at the end of the day. So you know, your word is your bond. So if you say something and she kind of breaks it, it's like, man, really? So like I said, you could get heated. You know, at the heat of the moment, you never know what you do, and you obviously try to control yourself. That's part of being a man. But at the end of the day, things happen, and it happens every day.
It is,
and people
but
home. You know,
we want to. I think we all acknowledge that what he did is something that we don't want to see. Particularly, we all respect our women in here, and like I said, that is what she wants us to mind our business and doing that. But when you do it out there in the public, then it becomes our business in there. So, like you say, keep those things in house. And all that,
Exactly.
and like I say, we should support each other within our communities and stuff. But Gervonta's got to be a little bit smarter.
Yeah, he got to be smarter than that. He don't want to face any court cases, you know, regardless of how minor, because you know he a fighter. Like I said early on, podcast, that man, he a fighter. If they see him, and you know they try to, the judge is automatically gonna judge him as a fighter. You know, not as a husband. She gonna be like, oh, you the fighter. You know, you're automatically guilty.
All right, well, brother. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Talking with y'all, you heard me?
Wa alaikum assalam, brother, man. Appreciate you for calling in all day, Akhi.
Salute, bro.
All right,
Salute.
brother.
All right.
Wa alaikum assalam. Now, last topic of the day. The last topic, Ugas, man. You know, he fought last night. Obviously, Al Heyman always have smart planning of putting fights around big venues and around the Super Bowl or the Olympics. Last time he did that for Errol Spence. Errol Spence, he did around 6.5 million viewership on PBC. I don't recall exactly. It was against Bundu, but he's doing the same thing for Ugas. Ugas deserve it. He's the sleeping giant at 147. He fought Dallas Jr. last night. He looked good. Obviously, Dallas Jr. got stopped in the 7th round because he could no longer continue. It was his best round, but you know, when it's your best round and you have your best moment and then get clapped right back, it's kind of discouraging. That's why the corner stopped it. We saw a lot of deaths in the sport of boxing lately, and I don't have no problem with them stopping the fight. Now, first of all, what's your take on the fight? And did you like what you saw in Ugas?
So I think Ugas put himself in a good position to be recognized as one of the top 5 welterweights in the country. So you're saying, oh, just top 5, but when you talk about welterweights, I think that's something to say. We were arguing, division. Yeah, that's super deep, and we were arguing. I was like, is he firmly in your top 5? And I think that it's not necessarily based on this performance, but what he did is make sure that he's kept his name and he's kept his performance in the public eye. He didn't do anything to kind of take away the momentum that he got from the very strong performance that he had against Porter at this point. So I could see him. He's not at the top, the top 3, I would say, welterweights, but I think he falls just under that. And then so me, that's going to open him up for a good fight against, I would love to say Crawford, or I think Porter's gonna do his best to avoid him. Spence seems like he's either gonna fight Danny Garcia or a Manny Pacquiao. So maybe he set himself up for a good comeback fight from when Thurman puts the sandwich down.
Thurman?
And like
Thurman ain't fighting no guys.
I would say, I agree with you. Who else is Thurman gonna fight? When he comes back.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch on that in a second, but I agree with you. He is a top 5. I believe he's a top 5. I say Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, Manny Pacquiao,
Danny Garcia. So you got Danny Garcia.
I say Keith Thurman. Ugas. Sean Porter number 6. The reason I say that, I believe he edged the fight with Sean Porter. He was using angles. A lot of people said, "Oh, Sean Porter fought the wrong fight." Nah, he fought the right fight. It was a strategy. They did not like. Kenny Porter said that they made that game plan that night. Yeah. It don't happen like that. Yeah. You have a game plan. You work on it for months. They came in, they didn't look as good as they thought. They knew they was in it for a real fight because Ugas know how to fight. They know in the pocket.
And he comes in
Ugas,
shape.
bro,
He goes to the body.
he takes angles. He don't have the knockout power of Mike, but he definitely have technical skills, and he always takes the right angles. He was making Sean Porter look silly in the inside the way he was taking them angles, throwing hooks, countering Sean Porter. Sean Porter was landing every now and then, but he wasn't doing that great. So like I said, that's why I had him edging that fight. So like I said, he is the top 5 welterweight, but as far as Keith Thurman, he would never go near Ugas. It's too much of a risky fight, and it's not big enough. So if anybody gonna fight him, it's gonna be an Errol Spence, maybe a Crawford.
He's coming off of a loss. He doesn't have a lot of leverage.
Who?
Keith Thurman.
Oh, he got a lot of leverage. Keith Thurman just beat me. I'm sorry. Keith Thurman just fought Manny Pacquiao. That's a legendary guy.
And then before that, he fought Josecito Lopez and was.
But regardless, you have to keep in mind he has wins over Danny Garcia, Sean Porter.
Stops right there.
You know what I'm saying? And then that's kind of like top 10.
So the thing is, so he's not going to fight those two. So he's not going to fight Spence. He already got beat by Pacquiao.
He might fight Errol Spence now. I mean, like Errol Spence told him at one time, I want that fight more than I want to breathe. I was like, man, that was the truth. I hit finna violate Keith Thurman. Like, I never heard him say that before. And when he said that, I was like, man, I know Keith Thurman ain't going to be like, man, don't duck me, son. I know he ain't going to keep that energy with Errol Spence. So when I saw that, I was like, man, Keith Thurman is not interested. And he never was. And Keith Thurman kind of basically, I thought he was going to be the first one to step up, actually, at one point. However, he kind of kept pushing it back. One time in 2015, he said that fight going to take place in 2017. 2017 came, that fight going to happen in 2019. 2019 came, he said that fight going to happen to 2021, maybe.
Yeah.
And he put a maybe behind it. So it was like, really? So
like, one thing, Craig, hold you out. So, like, before, because we're getting near the end, but I want people to go ahead and within the comments section, you listen to this, go ahead and list your top 5 out there, and we'll, like, kind of read. So, your top 5 welterweight, because you have Ugas in there. Yeah. So, for me, I would do a Crawford, Spence, Pacquiao. I'm going to do Porter Ugas. Well, no, let me see, because
I like that list. I like that list. It's okay. I like that list.
Okay.
You can have Ugas before Sean or Sean first. It don't matter. But I just give it to Keith because Keith Thurman did beat Sean and Danny. And I feel like Ugas beat Sean.
I just don't think he's the same fighter right now.
Yeah, but one thing for sure, when Keith Thurman fought those guys, they was on top of their game, so was he. However, now he knows Errol Spence is the cash cow. He knows Errol Spence is the money man of the division, especially if he beat a Manny Pacquiao. Keith Thurman would be dying to fight him. He's glad to take the L now. He used to say, I have an O and I'm not afraid to let it go. Well, he don't have an O no more. He don't got to worry about his O.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he will be glad to take another one for, his name is one time. He'd take another one time for, a big payday by Errol Spence.
I don't see it happen. So one of the reasons is that he recognized that Errol Spence is the truth. And even though I give Ugas credit, I like he comes in shape. He has the Cuban boxing acumen and background. There are some flaws to his style, right?
Yeah, one thing he's not perfect.
He's got very heavy feet. He fights flat-footed, and I think that Thurman thinks that athletically, I'm a little bit better than him. I have better feet, so I could find ways to get myself into good angles and do that. So I think that he might be open to it. And then he knows that Ugas has a good enough reputation at this point, but he's not this supreme threat that Errol Spence is.
But I don't know. I feel like that's too much of a risk for Keith Thurman at this point. I do agree with you. He do have heavy feet, and that's why Sean Porter fought him the way he did. But when you do, like you're gonna feel his presence if you fight him. And Keith Thurman, he already is not comfortable fighting in the inside. So that being said, Ugas, versus Keith Thurman is a great fight. I would favor Ugas at this point because I don't know, like Keith Thurman, if he's all the way back. That same one time,
close.
I will favor one time, but
toss-up.
Ugas now, I feel like he has his number because I don't think Keith Thurman still had the hunger. I would love for Keith Thurman to prove me wrong.
So one shout out, we're still waiting for other ones to come in, but Matthew Valentine has Spence, Crawford, Pacquiao, Porter, Ugas, and Dan. So that was 6 of them. But we
it's
so
all right. It's all right.
You got Danny like right outside of your top 5. So that's close.
So he had Ugas on his top 5. That's
actually like the same list as mine, but just in like a different order. Yeah. We have Ratty Habits has Crawford, Spence, Pacquiao, Porter, and then Gerard Ennis. I like that.
Oh, yeah, and
I like that. That's a nice.
And I feel like Ugas will be a great fight for
Gerard
Ennis
knocking at the door.
Or Virgil Ortiz. I believe Gerard Ennis versus Ugas. If he could beat Ugas, he could get a title shot now with Crawford or Errol Spence.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to get a title fight. I mean, just to get a top 5 name opponent, it's like getting a title fight at another division. So if Jaron Ennis could land a title, a fight with Ugas, that would kind of be a good lead up to a title fight for him. Virgil Ortiz the same way. Me, I would prefer to see Virgil versus Jaron Ennis to see who's the better out of the two.
Yeah.
I would love to see Ugas versus Virgil Ortiz as well, because last time Ugas fought my man, the guy Molina. Is it Molina?
Oh no, Figueroa.
Figueroa, yeah.
Yeah, Figueroa.
The last time Figueroa was kind of like a Virgil Ortiz at one point.
All right.
And you saw what Ugas did to him. He violated him. So I would love to see Virgil Ortiz to see if he could pass. I won't say the gatekeeper. I would say the sleeping giant that people sleeping on.
All right, so let me get a couple of more out. We got Samuel, the Miss has Spence, Pacquiao, Crawford, Ugas, and Porter. So that's kind of like, that's similar to my list. LCD Boxing, HOD has Spence, Pac-Man, Porter, Garcia, and then he has Ennis over Ugas. So I can't really hate on that. I left Thurman out due to his inactivity, and I think that's a valid reason out there. So where we at? So we got a couple more seconds. So if you want to get your top 5 lists out there, we'll definitely shout out your name and speak on it.
But that being said, the welterweight division is the hottest division in boxing, and this is definitely the hottest boxing debate show out there. So tune in every Sunday live. Of course, to my left, the one and only Professor Nam. You know what I'm saying? Today, I don't think it was a split decision. Y'all comment if y'all think it was a split decision win or a knockout win for Akhi, or Professor Nam, whoever y'all picking. Hashtag Akhi, hashtag Professor Nam. I appreciate every single one of y'all. Subscribe below if you're trying to get smart about a minute. If you're trying to get dumb about a second, don't. And listen to these casual fans. Of course, on Split Decision, we offer the book of the truth. So if you do open the book, that's exactly what you get, is Split Decision. So that being said, tune in every Sunday live by clicking on the notification bell to get notified every time we post or go live. If you want to attend the Akhi University, for all the casual fans that want to be hardcore, come to the Akhi University. We have real life professors like Professor Nam teaching for free. All you have to do is subscribe, you know what I mean? So that being said, I appreciate every single one of y'all. I don't know if you noticed, Professor Nam, this weekend, I posted a fight with me and, sparring and things.
I did notice.
Obviously, I got some haters coming through. Now, the people that know what time it is, they saw the Akhi skill. I'm not trying to brag. I'm not a fighter. I do this for fun.
And we're out here trying to teach out there, so we're not trying to hurt people.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hurt. So what they don't understand with the sparring, you could tell if you box. I'm pretty sure you haven't seen it, but as soon as I show you, you will realize it right away. Oh, man, you holding back all the way. Like, damn, Akhi, but it's because I want my opponent to improve, and so do I. And at the end of the day, I'm more so working on my upper body quickness and upper body movement than my hand speed. So when I throw a slow punch, I want my opponent to counter. So I could work off that. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, people in the comment section like, man, you slow, man. I'll knock you out, this and that. And I was like, man, that's how I know you will get knocked out, because you should know this ain't my real hand speed. Like, you will see me throw a real punch and then see me throw a slow punch. Every time I threw a real punch, I hurt the dude. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's all, ain't no winner or loser in sparring. So it's all about who learns more. The winner in sparring is the guy who worked on more things and learned more. And that's what I do when I spar. Like I said, it's my passion. It ain't even like I'm a professional, none of that. But I will whip KSI for that bread. You know what I'm saying? I don't even condone YouTube boxing. Me and you, like, they disrespected the best fight on the zone, and that was Tevin Farmer versus Jojo Diaz. And they had that not even as the co-main event. They had my man, what's his name?
Logan, Paul.
Yeah,
Paul,
his brother, but
is,
whatever.
BS.
Like, really, y'all gonna disrespect us like that? Oh, it was the best fight of the night, the most competitive, and we saw the upset. And y'all gonna have that over the best fight of the night, which was ridiculous by the zone. They cannot continue on disrespecting the sport like that if they want to grow the sport. So that being said, like I said, at the end of the day, when I spar, when I say I'm a YouTube boxer, I just wanted to let it be clear, I never had an amateur bout or a pro bout. Like, I'm self-taught based on what I saw. I studied my favorite fighter of all time, Muhammad Ali, the highest, the greatest. And of course, I studied Mayweather for a long time. That was one of the most fighters I learned from. And of course, Sugar Ray Leonard and them. Of course, to my left, two-time Golden Glove. Of course, he a professor with a PhD degree, but don't get it twisted. We want all the smoke.
Yeah, and with that said, we were going to wrap up. But as we get close, to the 20,000 subscribers, we're going to start bringing up other content, because part of my job, I've been boxing, but innately I'm a teacher, so I'm always looking to teach. So we're going to have a segment called Professor's Nims Boxing Gems, where we give y'all a little bit of technique. Like, we're going to show you how you can hook off of the jab. We can show you how to pull counter. We're going to show you some intricate things with the footwork. Yes, but just make sure that you subscribe, hit that like button,
and click on the notification bell.
Yes, and make sure that you tune in every week.
And I just want to, Ratty Habit said, Akhi, I saw you 40% all day. You was good work for him. So basically, he sees that I was just going like 40%. Like I said, it's tough when you're not trying to hurt. Like, I would throw a real punch to the body, but not to the head. So when you throw a slow punch, is you got to be, work harder. To basically avoid the counters, because he's throwing at real speed. I'm not. Yeah. On the other hand, I'm out of shape. I ain't gonna front. Like, I haven't been working out for 2 or 3 years, but I still had them skills though. You know what I'm saying? I still could throw them hands. But regardless of any of that, I appreciate every single one of y'all. OG Swag, appreciate you, Akhi, all day, man. I appreciate the love and the support. All my Akhis, from Real Rap to Sean. I hope you feel better. Inshallah, you will recover. My prayers goes out to you. And of course, take us out, Professor Nin.
Yeah, just make sure that y'all tune in. We're gonna have that prediction coming up soon for the Wilder versus Fury 2, and keep growing with us. We're gonna keep bringing you knowledge and facts. It's no emotions here. We're just trying to teach the boxing community. So see y'all next week.
See y'all next week.
3P. Y'all know.